Yo, what is up guys, Mike back with another video. Sorry I'm a little sick, so I might be a little stuffy and sound a little weird. But in today's video and a few videos, I'm going to be doing and talking about my thoughts of the MCU and how they should introduce the X-Men and things like that. I'm also going to be going over some fan castings, one of my favorite YouTubers out there, Gubs. Quick shout out to him. I'm going to leave his channel in the link in the description below. I'm going to be talking about some of the guys that he thinks could play these characters as I go over them. I'm going to also be doing doubles, Jean Grey, Cyclops, and maybe Storm, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and Rogue, stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing them in pairs and things like that, and just talking about them one-on-one in each episode and stuff like that. I think that X-Men Evolution is a really good place for MCU to pull some reboot storylines for the X-Men leading into the MCU, simply because a lot of the films have been more adult-based and everything, with very few teenagers, or like they're teenagers but they're like at the literal like end of the series, like they're like 18 or just turned 19 in the series. We don't have super young teenagers like Peter Parker in the MCU right now is 15 years old and a sophomore in high school. We don't have any characters like that besides him. I guess you could count Cloak and Dagger and the Runaways and stuff like that, but those are small screen adaptations that don't have any larger effects on the overall MCU as a whole. Spider-Man does. But I think that could change. That could really be a nice story, and go really well into the MCU moving forward with Phase 4. You might be thinking to yourself, don't we already have Teenage X-Men with the recent films X-Men Apocalypse and the upcoming Dark Phoenix film? Yes, that is true. But these characters in particular, which I'm going to start naming off, and then we'll get into more detail in further episodes, future episodes and stuff, they're not as well developed, and we were just introducing to them 2 years ago. Before then, we had a lot of young adult or fully grown adult actors playing these characters, and at that, when they were introduced, the story, because of how the cast was set up and how the story was set up and even who was casted to play certain characters, it was way too much star power to get any kind of focus in for the younger characters who are supposed to take over and are the what we know as the X-Men, or what will become the main of the X-Men: Scott, Jean, Kurt, Jubilee, who deserves way more screen time than she's ever gotten. What I'm about to say also came from Gubs' video. I wholeheartedly agree with this, and I'm going to put that video in the description below as well. And it's that the X-Men need to have more team-based scenarios. As much as I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, he's been the main star of pretty much every film. And then, for the films that he wasn't a main star, he was a huge cameo input, and then other people took over with Jennifer Lawrence and James McAvoy and all those other guys. They all took over, and they completely overpowered and outstarred other great actors and characters like Storm and Cyclops and Jean Grey and Nightcrawler, who have great storylines. And in X-Men Evolution, they don't do that. They take time to give you episodes and references and even full-on, completely out-of-the-blue episodes with Storm and Logan, but they still make time throughout the 4-season run to give you this kind of overall character arc with Jean and Scott and Kurt, aka Nightcrawler, and Rogue, which I'll talk about more on that in the separate video. But them, and then Kitty Pryde and Avalanche. I love that couple. That's a really interesting idea, that Avalanche is a member of the Brotherhood, aka the villains, and Kitty Pryde is a member of the X-Men, but they still go to the same school and they really like each other, and it's kind of like this on-off relationship type of thing again. And I think that's very interesting. And yeah, so that's all this series is going to be about, just kind of talking about the characters, using fan casting lists and stuff, mostly Gubs' stuff, maybe my own opinion here or there if I think I have a better idea or a better actor or actress in mind, stuff like that, and just talking about the overall characters and how the MCU should approach bringing the X-Men, at least a younger version of the X-Men, into the MCU. I think if they did it, I think an overall thing that they could do is kind of doing a whole, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends type of thing in the comic books. And in the early 90s, I believe, there were a TV show and a comic book where Spider-Man kind of was like living alongside Bobby Drake's Iceman, and it was Firebird in the TV show, and it was the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. And they kind of like lived together, and they were kind of like this little trio group type of thing. I think that'd be an interesting concept. But yeah, next video is going to be on Jean Grey and Cyclops. I'll see you guys then.